set? Yeah. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Sherman Township Trustees to order. Rise with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice. Thank you. We have the roll call, Mr. Easton.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Dr. Frost.
Here.
Mr. Stout.
Here.
Mr. Clotter. Yes, they're all are present.
Next, we'll have visitor comments. We have Carrie Scarf here from Five Rivers Metro Park. She's going to speak a little bit about the upcoming levy. So you come to the podium and say your name and address.
I'm Carrie Scarf. I'm the Chief of Planning at Five Rivers Metro Parks. My address is 409 East Monument Avenue in Dayton.
Thank you.
So thank you for giving me some of your time this evening. As Dr. Cross said, we have a levy on the ballot this fall, and so we appreciate the opportunity to come out and share with all of you why we have this levy on the ballot, what we'll use it for, and what will happen if it doesn't pass. So Five Rivers Metro Parks was formed 61 years ago now with the mission to protect the region's natural heritage or natural spaces and then connect people to nature in that way. So that's what we've been doing for the past 65 years. We have 18 parks. We help care for 8 bikeways in our network that is the largest in the nation with many of our partners. We have a 2nd Street Market downtown. We protect 16,000 acres of open space, and of that, the acreage we manage by our own edict, we keep 90% of that in natural habitat. And of course, here in the Twin Valley, we have our most pristine natural area along the Twin Creek. We have Germantown Metro Park and then further to the south, Twin Creek Metro Park. And Twin Creek is always number 1 or number 2 in the state as the cleanest waterway in the state of Ohio. So that's something I think is great for this area. We consider it a great win. And the open space we protected back here has led to the return of a lot of species that had left Ohio 200 years ago, like beaver and otter, different bat species, and even black bear and bobcat are in the area. So I'm also aware that there are concerns in this part of the county about the amount of public land that we own that comes off the tax rolls, because it does come off the tax rolls. And that's unfortunate. We acknowledge that. We acknowledge that impacts your revenue in terms of property taxes. And it's unfortunate. It falls within our mission to protect these spaces, and so that's what we do. And unfortunately, it hurts your revenue. So I do want to acknowledge that. This levy is a 1.0 mil levy. It is a new levy because we are capped out in our old levy. We could not run a replacement levy. And the money generated by this levy won't be used for new bells and whistles. This is to take care of what we have. The funding model that we've been operating under now for a number of years has led us to have a $58 million deferred maintenance backlog. And so this money will address that first and foremost. It will allow us to pay our staff fair wages. And we're not able to do that now. we have implemented a number of cost-cutting measures over the past many years. And we have just gotten to the point that even those are not doing it. And so this levy will allow us to take care and present the parks essentially in the way they are now, in the way that the community has become accustomed to them. We serve 300,000 Montgomery County residents every year visit a Metro Park, resulting in over 2 million visits. And so we work hard to find activities and offer opportunities that are that meet the needs of many different preferences in terms of how people interact with nature, whether it's hiking or fishing, even bow hunting in our volunteer program, mountain biking. And without this funding, we would need to cut back on our programs. Parks would continue to deteriorate in a way that we would struggle to keep those safe. And while service to the public, we would need to close some facilities. And we would have to continue to freeze open positions to cut down on our personnel costs. So that's a summary of why we have this levy on the ballot. And I don't want to take too much of your time. I'll be happy to take any questions you have.
So what is this projected to, as far as money-wise raise?
It will bring in about $14 million a year. It's the cost per $100,000 of property value is less than $3 a month. $30 a year.
Are you continuing to buy more land up?
We have gone to, in terms of how much land we should provide in open space as a level of service kind of a gauge throughout the nation, we have reached that mark. So what we look at now is if there's a piece of property, it's a much more surgical approach. So if we have a park and it has a piece out of it, we might pursue that piece when it becomes available. If we have a waterway that we're protecting and there's a piece of property along that waterway that will allow us to create a buffer along that waterway, then we would preserve that. But we have very specific criteria about what property we pursue. And we have, whenever we consider a piece of property, we go to our board and we have to show them which of those criteria this opportunity is meeting, and they let us know whether or not that we feel like they've met that bar.
Trying to just keep expanding any more than what you've already got. I mean, I know what you're talking about is something that's inside the park.
Our intent isn't to grow to 17,000, 18,000, 19,000 acres now. It's to pick up, this piece and this piece throughout the town.
When I read the analysis that the Dayton Daily News published about the levy, which I thought laid out a lot of what you said pretty well, one of the things that struck me was the same numbers you just quoted. I think it was 300,000 visitors from the county, but a couple million in total,
Right.
which tells me that a lot of the visitors to the metro parks come from other places than rather than Montgomery County, which is good. And I also know that you own land outside of Montgomery County along some of the waterways. Is there any prohibition to keep you from running these levies in those counties where you also own land?
Yes, there is.
Is that a state requirement or?
Yes, there is a chapter of the Ohio Revised Code 1545 that prescribes how park districts can function. And we have our geographic and political limitations are Montgomery County. And we do have some land outside of Montgomery County. That the biggest parcels are actually over in the east part of the county. The Twin Creek is also has a portion of it in Warren County, but Sugar Creek and Huffman Metro Parks, those two parks were actually acquired. Land for those were acquired way back in the 1960s when the park district was just forming, because that east part of the county had already developed so much that to serve the population in that part of the county, the park district had to go outside the county because we're a conservation organization, to get enough land to create a park that was appropriate for the park district.
Would there be an option to set up a separate park district in adjacent counties that might be under the umbrella of Five Rivers Metro that would allow you to stay within the state law but still tap other
Right,
revenue sources?
So Greene County has a park district. We can't be superior to them in any way. We're a sister agency to them. We have talked about, could we charge fees to those who visit our parks that live outside the county? And as we examined that and kind of did all that math, what we recognized is that it would cost us more to charge and collect those fees than we would make.
I can see that.
Yeah. So, I hear you. There are certainly people outside of the county who take advantage of the metro parks. The state used to balance that in the past with local government funds, acknowledging that, Montgomery County is here, but these people use this, and so we're going to provide state funding to kind of even that out. And we still get a little bit of that, but that's a lot of our revenue that has gone away and has put us in this position.
And so that's for all jurisdictions.
Right. All of you local jurisdictions know that experience.
Okay, thank you. That's good information. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So how many counties does Five Rivers own and maintain property in?
We have, as I mentioned, Greene County. We have a little bit of land in Miami County. I'm hesitating because it's right on the border of Clark County at
Okay.
Carriage Hill Metro Park. Bethel Township just helped us, gave us $1 million to buy that piece of property so they could maintain their rural character. And that actually went over the Montgomery County line for Carriage Hill Metro Park. There's a sliver of Taylorsville Metro Park that's in Miami County. And then Twin Creek Metro Park, about half of that is in Warren County.
And don't you guys own land in Preble County as well, going up the creek?
We have actually an easement on a piece of property that's now been divided a number of ways.
Okay.
That's in the Preble County, and we would not do anything like that again.
Okay. All right. You're going to get a lot of the same questions you got last time you were here. And I appreciate you addressing some of the issues that we actually discussed, 4 years ago or 5, whatever it was. And then I know you were at Jackson Township a month or so ago, and I think they asked some of the questions too. I think it's what's hard for German Township residents is we're paying a Metro Park tax. Our land's getting bought up with that. Our resources of the township, Jackson Township, Valley View Local School District, we're losing money. And there's nothing, it's just gone. And you're taking valuable farmland and turning it into whatever you want to call whatever it is.
Open space.
Okay, open space. So one of the things you said is if the levy doesn't pass, the cuts that you're going to make is an option if the levy doesn't pass to sell land back to the local farmers so they can turn the land back into profitable tax paying property.
So let me, before I answer that, let me mention one thing. We acknowledge, the, the tremendous farm heritage down here. And one thing that we did a number of years ago, and we lost our funding source on this, is because farmland is valuable open space.
Right.
So we worked with a number of farmers to purchase, give them agricultural easements.
Right.
And we paid them for that, which allowed them in some cases to pass their farm down a generation and not lose or have to split that farm. So again, acknowledging that there's a strong rural and agricultural character here, we tried to address that in that way. Getting back to your other question, would we sell land back? It's not likely that we would, because we have our challenges, ongoing operational expense. If we sold land back, first of all, it would be absolutely counter to our mission. I mean, our mission is to protect open space, so it would be counter to our mission. But if we sold land back, that would be a one-time gain. And, X number of years later, we wouldn't have anything from that. So it's not likely that we would do that.
In the past, when you guys have purchased land, you guys are able to pay a much higher price than local people are, because governments has unlimited money, it seems, especially when levies continue to pop up. So it's not fair to people in German Township that are competing against the Metro Park or the government to buy or purchase land to maintain it as farmland, when it continues to get purchased up and then again taken out of our tax. I think the biggest issue is it's taken out of our tax base,
Sure.
and then we're the ones losing out.
Can I address one
Sure.
part of that real
Yeah.
quick? You said that we're able to pay a much higher price.
Yeah.
We, first of all, we haven't used any Metro Parks money. I've been in charge of buying land for 6 years now at Metro Parks. We haven't used any of Metro Parks money to purchase land in the period that I've been in charge of this, because we don't have the money to do it. We also have not paid greater than fair market value as assessed by a certified ODOT appraiser, because our funding source, a state grant, won't allow us to do that. And I've heard this idea from, I think this is the 4th presentation I've given where people have said, you guys pay a lot more. We don't. Now, that impression may have come from the Markey farm.
That's what I was getting at.
Okay, great. The reason that impression may have come from the Markey farm is when we purchased that property, again, not only did we pay fair market value as established by a state certified appraisal, there also had to be a review appraisal on that. So another state certified appraiser reviewed that appraisal to make sure that it was fair market value. That's the price we paid for the land. However, as a conservation agency, it was important to us that Mr. Markey not cut his timber. So on top of that, we had to pay him the value of the timber. And so if you didn't understand that detail, it may have looked like we paid him a high price for his land. We paid him fair market value price for his land, and then we had to pay for his timber. And fortunately, the grant covered all of that.
I think last time you were here, you guys were in the process of purchasing that.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And we had asked if you were buying any land in German Township. And you didn't know at the time. And then, a month later, you guys had ended up with the Marquee Farm.
Yeah, I don't remember how that happened. I certainly wouldn't have lied to you, so I apologize if that happened.
You talked about reducing spending. What specific reductions in spending are going to happen if that does not pass?
We currently have 19 positions that we're holding open. to save money. And if the levy doesn't pass, we'll continue to hold positions open. We won't fill positions. Personnel is
Yeah,
always
right.
your biggest cost,
Right.
right? We have made operational cuts and held operational spending for the past 12 years. We to make significant cuts to our operational budget too. Currently, I don't want to quote it on this, but we don't have, because we don't have final numbers, but it would be fairly substantial cuts to our operational budget. And then our capital budget, which by our own planning shows us should be about $8 million a year, would be $750,000 next year.
Just requests for you. Metro Park owns land bordering several roads in the township. Deer are crazy this time of year. If we mow that back like 50 more feet so we can see the deer coming. I drive down past the day on my way to work and on my way home. There's deer jumping out. You can't see them because the trees are this far from the edge of the road and the grass that's growing up all the time.
Okay,
Just
I will take that back and share it with our park managers and conservation managers.
I know your levy's going to pass, they always do, but I just realize, and I appreciate you acknowledging the fact that we're not exactly positively impacted by Five Rivers Metro Park
Right.
out here, so.
Metro parks are they were established in the Ohio Revised Code to preserve open space in urban counties. And Montgomery County is an urban county, but Southwest Montgomery County is not an urban county.
Right.
And
Unfortunately, or maybe there's a way that somehow we get past your levy and maybe we can get reimbursed for the tax dollars we've lost in the last 61 years.
if he can figure that out, let me know.
It's eternal. I don't see that materializing.
Just the point is 60 plus years that we've lost and continuing to lose more and more and more. And it's not just us, it's us, Jackson, Valley View specifically locally here that are losing out. So,
Yeah.
Last question, how many Metro Park employees make over $100,000 a year?
I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
It was almost one, well,
10 years, 7 years ago, 7 or 8.
It was before I was in charge, so I can't tell you for sure, but it was before.
that,
More
that's,
than 6
that's
years ago.
across the road, away from the creek. I mean, they're not buying that to protect Twin Creek. It's across the road up the hills. So it was just expanding is all it was doing.
Okay,
Lack of better words.
that property,
That's why
yeah. That property, we were able to extend our trail network and we were able to cover, which is a valuable,
I'm sorry that you're left.
we were able to create a wetland there that is that's a valuable habitat for us. So,
Or designed their water onto us to start with and had to go back and fix later.
we did need to fix
Yes.
that, yep.
I just have a quick question. Does the Metro Park do anything to offset the amount of wear and tear on the local roads anywhere else in the county? Because I know that's our biggest concern is we tried to run a road levy like 4 times, couldn't get it to pass. The Metro Parks is pulling in, was it 3 million people? Into
Across the county.
across the county. A lot of them to this area because it's heavily parked area. And, that's the problem we see is our roads are just getting hammered with traffic that doesn't pay township taxes. And I didn't know if that problem was happening anywhere else in the county and whether the Metro Parks ever did any kind of cooperative projects with the local communities to help, like Boomershine Road, there's a half a dozen parks on Boomershine Road. Little Conservancy Road, those roads are just getting, gobs and gobs of traffic. You got, Old Mill Road, which is a public street that serves no one but the Metro Parks. And we can't give it away. We're not allowed. So we have to continue to maintain it, take money out of, the road budget to pay for the repairs and maintenance on this road. And we get nothing. So I didn't know, has the ever worked with the local communities to fund road projects that would benefit the metro parks greatly and benefit the local community.
We would certainly be open to, signing on as a supporter of a grant for that. We don't anywhere in the county or outside the county,
I mean,
partner with
German
local
Township
municipalities.
applied to issue 2 funds to, say, repay Boomershine Road with the metro parks, seeing that they would benefit. They'd be willing to put some money up front to assist with, improving the road that serves, mostly, there's a whole lot more people that travel on Boomershine Road to go to the parks than the 12 residents that live there. So
That would set a really difficult precedent for us that we could not maintain.
I think Old Mill is a good one to talk about. I wasn't aware that we were not allowed to vacate that at all. Other counties vacate roads.
we can't vacate it because there's more than one parcel. And the county says if we vacate it, it's going to landlock some of the parcels. So that if they were ever to sell, which we all know they will never sell, because they're owned by the metro parks. But if that one piece down in the bottom were to sell, it would have no road frontage to get to that parcel.
Can we do lot combinations?
We can't. They could.
I know.
That would cost them money and it doesn't benefit them. They would have to hire a surveyor. They would have to join the property into one piece of property. Then yes, we could vacate the property, but now it's the same thing as giving money for an issue 2 project. They're spending money that doesn't directly benefit. Right now they're getting free maintenance on a road into their parks. So,
Yeah, that's a terrible situation.
if we get
It's something we could get together and talk about.
we get $60 a year from the state to maintain that road.
I think we should have that in those conversations, specifically on that road.
We can do that.
Anything else?
One of the things that you mentioned was some of this levy would go to help improve pay for your employees.
Right.
So you guys really don't have problems passing levies, but the police department, road department, we have a problem passing levies. Our starting pay for months are 17 something an hour. That's a problem. It causes us problems.
Yeah.
We tried, we passed the levy a couple of years ago, but we had to try. I tried to pass one now. So Metro Parks affects us and and I think it's the same.
Okey-doke.
All right. Well, I appreciate your.
You have a question from the public?
Well, here, from here. Just as a citizen, I saw, I get hit with 2 levies for the Valley View School recently. And I know the police can't afford a new cruiser they want. And I sit there instead of coming for more money and being at home, if I'm spending more than I'm earning, I either gotta cut back or I gotta bid a loan. I can't ask for a levy, somebody hands me money. Somebody needs to look at a budget maybe, instead of looking to increase ask us for more money. Anybody here sitting on top of a pile of money after all that's going on.
So, I understand that perspective. As I said, we have been cutting for 12 years now. And we're simply to the point that, if we cut any more, then we'll be cutting services. And so this is the point where we ask the voters, do you, and when I say cutting services, we've been cutting service. We would be cutting into the flesh and the bone. And so this is the point where we ask the voters, do you want us to continue as we have, or would you prefer that we live with less money and provide fewer services? And that's what a levy is about. Let the voters tell us.
All right. Thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah, thank
thanks
you.
for your time.
Yep.
Take care.
Any other? You guys a little bit later during the piece.
You guys have something to talk
How
about?
about, sir?
Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
yeah, that'll be during my report. That's it.
So I think we'll go ahead and move on to the fiscal officer's report.
So good evening again, everyone. First of all, I've given you the minutes of our last meeting on September 9th. Are there any corrections or changes? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the 9/9/24 regular meeting as presented.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And as always, I have given you the financial reports this month, of course, for September. Got the September 30 fund status, the year-to-date through September 30 cash summary by fund, the month of September cash summary by fund, the September receipts listing, and the September payment listing. And I do want to point out 3 items. Receipt number 252, 2024 for $492,424.10, less associated fees of $5,650.36 from the Montgomery County Auditor was the second half tax settlement. And earlier this month, on October 2nd, we then received the second half homestead and rollback payment from the state of Ohio. Receipt number 257 for $10,098.57 from the Valley View Joint Economic Development District is the quarterly distribution of income taxes that are withheld from the high school employees and the construction workers at the new school. And warrant number 50797 for $1,155 to the city of Germantown was for the purchase of 5 Knox boxes for the resident vending program. And I will point out that we received a little less than half of that cost from Otarma as part of their annual grant. Mr. Holbrook used some of his money for that purpose. So thank you very much for that. The rest of it came out of the general fund because when you approved those purchase, you didn't actually specify any other fund. So it automatically goes to the general. Are there any questions about the financials? If not, could I have a motion to approve the September financial reports and authorize the payment of September bills?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the September financial reports and authorize the payment of September bills, warrants 50794 through 50798, and vouchers 733 through 826 for payroll, direct deposit, tax withholdings, and other electronic payments.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Since we were talking levies, just a reminder that everyone in German Township will vote on the 4.0 mil additional fire EMS levy on the November 5th ballot. This is a continuous levy and it will be considered by both the residents here in the unincorporated portion of the township, as well as the residents of the city of Germantown. And another reminder that we still have unallocated funds of $10,664.01 in the American Rescue Plan Act Fund. And that needs to be earmarked by the end of December of this year, or the funds will most likely need to be returned to the Treasury Department. So we're winding down on our time to use up that money. And since I typically prepare a special resolution for the following month, once you make a decision, I would say next month would probably be your last time to decide how to spend that. Or we would do it. I guess we're going to have a special meeting at the end of December. We could do it then. So we've got a couple of meetings left.
So have there been any ideas for that money?
I've got, well, he's got one.
I think everybody has ideas.
Well, good.
Question, which idea is the one that you want to do? If you want to have that discussion now, we can.
We can. I think his is first and foremost.
This is on my report, but when we went through the whole radio project, they did not quote the installation of the radios in the cruisers past that are radios that are not installed, but they don't quote that. So that's an additional $2,360.50 that I would like to request that we use the ARPA funds. Complete that radio project, and that will be completed on December 16th is when we get those installed. So
That leaves about 10,000 left.
That'll leave us about 8,300 left.
Could use that against the dump truck
Or a sign.
or something.
So that, we had looked into a sign a while back. And I know the sign's falling apart. The dump truck is valuable place to put it too. But our sign's in bad shape and falling apart. We got these quotes a while back, a year ago almost. But I think that might be something to consider, and then using the general fund to cover the rest of it, because I'm not sure how much longer that sign's gonna stay together. Sounds like it's coming apart.
Rough.
So just something to consider.
Well, using the art money for the installation.
I think that's it for sure.
For sure, and help outfit the new truck.
You could always use general fund money for the sign, I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
You could use general fund money to offset the cost of the truck. I mean,
Right.
Mr. Holberg is exactly right. You can use general fund money any way you want,
yeah, you could pay.
but we definitely want to use this 83 number. Really relish the idea of sending it back to Washington.
Oh, we're not gonna do that.
That's what I think we just need to pick a project. I mean, Chief's project is perfect. If you want to put in signs,
I'm sure it's a budgeted item though.
no.
Yeah, why don't you present us the next meeting so we can decide for sure.
If you want to round up to 10, but if you think you want to use it for the dump truck, I will prepare the ARPA resolution for the November meeting.
I think the police get their
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
out, and then the rest can go there.
I appreciate it. Help offset the money that the Metro Parks is.
Oh, wait a minute. Did we put that in the budget? Okay. All right. We'll research it to make sure, and then we'll get the resolution ready for next month. Good.
And can we get a, you said that the sign was a year old.
Yeah,
Can we get an updated price?
I'm sure we can. The quote a year ago was 23,000. And that's for a LED. It would have our logo at one end, and then it's a LED, so you could put meeting dates, any information. You'd never have to drag the arrow board out there again.
Santa.
Yeah.
National night out.
Do you think that would be a safety issue though, with a sign?
Well, that's-
there, but this traffic moves so fast, it's
Well,
like Jackson Township where it's in town.
Right, no, I think that you would need to have something that stays and doesn't change. I mean, you don't want to be scrolling through stuff.
Well, exactly.
So if you had, I think if you had one message on there at a time,
With my church on Farmersville Pike, when we put in our digital sign, the city required it, each message to stay 5 seconds. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't be,
I think that's completely reasonable.
well, we're 20 miles an hour faster in front of here. And
or maybe,
so it's, if it does change, it's every, I don't know.
I'm sure it's programmable.
you
Want an hour or something.
You can do anything.
Let's, maybe get an update on that.
I think we got 2 quotes last
We
year.
did,
2 different companies, although they're both here in town, weren't they?
I'm not sure where they were located, but yeah,
I think so. Okay,
would you be able?
good.
I'm sure it's probably in the email somewhere.
A reminder, the holiday gala with Montgomery County Township Association will be held at the Mandalay Banquet Center on November 21. The tickets for this evening for that evening are $45. You must be reserved by November 5th. And I do not plan to attend this year. So if anybody else plans to attend, that's great. This is an off year, so I don't think I'm going to go. Another reminder, our November trustee meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 12th. This is one day later than normal. Veterans Day falling on our regular meeting night. And finally, at the end of the meeting, I'm going to ask the trustees to go into executive session under ORC 121.22 G1 to consider the compensation of a public employee. With that, I'm done.
Thank you. Police Department?
I'm gonna skip down to the cert part of my presentation, ask if Ken and Dean, they come up and go over our cert team with everyone.
Go ahead and say your name and address.
Ken Evans, cert co-coordinator, ex-coordinator, unspoken proper.
Jean, that was-
Jean, she's co-coordinator also.
Address.
We started out, she got trained in 2011, I got changed in 2015, got sent to FEMA to learn how to be trained a trainer to help Lori out, and Lori retired. And we had no leader, and Chief Anzik asked if we could fill in, and we did for a while. And it's time for us to move on, but we did want to let you know what CERT's all about, if you have time to.
Mr. Vanchuk, before you go further,
Yes, sir.
did you give your address?
No, you're gonna give your address.
We're at where we live,
Yes.
7640 Conservancy Road.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Make sure you're in the township, honey.
You're in Township, yeah, I'm in Township. CERT is actually, it's really, anybody here taking a CERT class, attended any of the trainings at all? You know what CERT means?
Yes.
Okay. It's actually, one of the neatest things the government's ever done, because it's free to the people. I mean, it's tax dollars, of course, but it was actually formed overseas before it came to the United States, and it was, first one was in California, and then after 9/11 and stuff like that, it kind of blew up and took off everywhere. But it's for first responder safety until the fire department or the police department can show up. If there's a tornado goes through Germantown, the city, the last place they're going to hit is Conservancy Road with 12 houses on it. Okay, so if we learn how to take care of ourselves for emergencies, we can help each other. If there's fire or if somebody's lost in the park, they can have somebody to call. If there's downed trees, we've got call out lists. We're trained on that. We're trained to fight small fires. We're trained for search and rescue, disaster medical, and we're trained in terrorism, active shooter. And my search and rescue we covered. And we have quarterly training with that. We'll pick a topic. This last Saturday, we did search and rescue up in EB Road, the park up there, the Metro Park. And it went pretty well. Everybody seemed to, when it showed up, was active. We used radios. The ham team here, they showed up and they participated. One stayed back and monitored, and one went with our guys. And it's good that we get to cross-reference the duties so you know who can do what value we add to it. And we did a couple with the military reserves out of Middletown, which was kind of neat because they would respond to something large. And if we get there first, which I'm assuming we do, it's like if we respond to something, tornado hits this building, it's off hours, nobody's here. We show up or whatever to make sure. When the fire department shows up from down the street, we'd hand off any notes we have. And then they're in charge and they'll tell us to go park cars or go do something else.
Okay.
But we're in charge until they show up. We take notes, what we found, if it's people, damage, whatever the case might be, and then we hand it off. We're the first folks to show it, and we, because I know we had those crazy winds back in 2008, whatever it was. We had 9 days, we didn't have any power right down the street here, so it's like, you know, we may do pretty good. But
We also teach citizens to take care of themselves and their family and their neighbors, so that it helps everybody else, because you don't have, you know, there's people there that are helping to take care of themselves, so.
if you're at a picnic, you're at school, or even if you're at a store, work, whatever it might be. You know, if somebody goes down, friend, relative, or just a coworker, you can do simple first aid and get them, you know, triage real quick and then get somebody called as needed. It's so darn handy. We were home this past summer and there's knocking on the door and it's the middle of the day and some lady's there, she's gasping, my husband's dying, he's got diabetes in the park house. And so we got some candy and went and took care of him, got him some candy, went and got him in the car and on our way. But because of the trip, we knew what to do real quick. You know, if somebody's got diabetes, you can't wait too long before they go into diabetic coma. So we got the sweets in them and just a quick sample of it, you know. And she, of course, she sent her a card later. She was a guardian angel. They were
They were guardian angels. She brought us candy back and a plant for Easter and said we were their guardian angel.
But it was nice to have actually use it and give back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But, so we're here for whatever stuff these guys have. We've worked DOI checkpoints, we've run bicycle races, we've, you know, cordoned off the spots, so you don't have to tie up a officer. And, you know, just have the cones out and wave and put the vest on. We never really coached them pretty good. Any other?
Help where needed.
Yeah.
We're really proud to have services available for stuff like this. Over on the wall, you can see the different groups that have went through the training, pictures of the different groups, and they're a really helpful community service. So thank you guys for everything you've done. Thank you for coming and talking about it.
But when the tornado come through my house up there in 21, I think it was 22, the concert team come out, to help me tarp the roof. of my house.
Yeah. And we went through the cities and we did the reviews of the houses, drove by.
I helped with Red Cross, helping do the disaster assessment of the houses and that, so I was helping with that.
Park cars at COVID shot places and stuff, whatever the need is. And the other thing is we're only trained what we're trained to do. So if, you know, if it's too big or whatever, then we're told rescue or safety first. If we're not trained in it, if it's in our manual, we can do it. And we're covered with the Good Samaritan law, whatever, helping people. But if it's not in there, we don't do it unless they're.
Know your limits.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly.
Yeah, that's
the way-
part of it, to know the limits, to know what.
The policeman said it. No, anyway.
And we're stepping down now, and we're gonna try to find someone else to take over. We've done it for a while, and we need to step down for some health reasons and such, so we're gonna take care of ourselves. But we're still gonna be part of it. We're still gonna help out.
Yeah, we'll still help teach.
He and Lori do great teaching. He and Lori Rohrbach are
Yeah.
excellent. So we'll still do that. They really enjoy that. We like the trainings. We just want to step down from running for now.
It's pretty cool going up to FEMA headquarters in Emmitsburg, Maryland, to get trained.
Yeah, we're gonna train.
Out up there.
We appreciate you guys taking
Thank you.
over and
Thank you.
smoothing things out at the time and back in the day. And
Yeah, that was a difficult time.
yeah, so you guys didn't exactly take over the easiest time. We appreciate everything you guys did.
Okay, and when the new guy comes on board, we'll be here to help teach and get them up to speed. And
Yeah,
I transferred over all the data that we had in the 3 years we were there on the thumb drive.
okay.
And any paperwork that was new it's all up to, everything's up to date and speed like we found it was from Lori.
Okay.
So just had a little gap from the guy in between, but we fixed that.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, thank you guys for everything, John. You're definitely appreciated by more than us, the entire community. So,
Is that all you need, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna go into an opportunity
Okay.
for the search team.
Okay.
so
Okay,
thank
very
you
much.
guys.
I wasn't aware that the van checks were going to set aside. I think it might be appropriate you pass a resolution thanking them for their volunteerism in leading this group for the last 2 years, probably.
We've been coordinators for 3 years. We volunteered here for over 15. Or whatever we could,
Coordinators for 3.
for free, it was 13.
If that's something you would like to do,
Yeah, do you want us to write something up for next meeting or?
or,
Yeah, that'd be,
okay, let's work on something.
okay. Yeah.
With-
You take a vote, 'cause we're not here, we won't feel bad then.
I think that'd be something nice. You put it in a frame and. Yeah.
Yep, thank you guys.
Thank you very much. So the CERT team responds, and that's one of the biggest things that they do. They're first responders. So we've been kind of limited with the CERT team in the ability to respond to certain situations as far as a group and have all the supplies there when they're needed. So basically, Sean and I attended a Ohio Department of Homeland Security grant meeting on 8/21. It was put on by the Montgomery County Department of Emergency Management. This meeting was a workshop reference writing a grant specifically for the CERT team. And one of the things that we've always been limited on is getting everything there and have kind of a mobile shop to work out of. So what we had discussed is a trailer. So this grant would provide us the ability to have a mobile CERT response unit. So basically this grant is, the total cost for this grant, and according to the application guidance for the grant, is between $25,000 and $200,000. That's what you have to spend. Our estimated grant ask for this trailer and the equipment in the trailer is right at $60,000. The exact amount that we calculated is $58,767. The grant has been written and submitted. We have not heard anything back right now. But if the grant's approved, according to the application guide, we have to spend the money and then they reimburse us. So we would have to come up with that $58,767 from somewhere if the grant's approved. We wouldn't ask for that unless we got approval, obviously in writing, from the Ohio Department of Homeland Security. So basically, I'm fairly new to this, so I don't know exactly how to go about this. But we would need to ask for that $60,000 come from someone. So I don't know if it would be, if we ask the trustees to allow us to use that out of general fund and then pay that back when the money comes? Or is it something that we would have to spend out of our budget somewhere and then get that paid back to our budget? I'm not quite sure how you guys.
It can go either way. The general fund can advance any funds to another fund. If it rolls over year end, it has some financial statement impact, but it's not onerous. But if it's all within the same calendar year, it's an easy in, easy out.
It would be,
It could also be using your funds and then you know they're going to get reimbursed, but you have sufficient funds to do that.
right.
So, but the general fund can always advance monies.
So the date that this has to be completed by, items purchased and in place, is by 12/1/2025. So this would happen most likely in the calendar year of 2025. But I wanted to bring it up now because we've submitted a grant and it's in place. We just haven't heard anything back. I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention so you guys were aware of what we were.
Do you know when you'll know something? Is there a date?
No, we asked and they didn't have an answer for us.
If you get the grant approved, we'll cover it one way or the other.
We got our fingers crossed. They said there's a good chance because they're really focusing on this type of activity.
Okay.
The community response, it's really a push from FEMA to have these CERT teams in place, and we're one of very few
Very
the area. Yeah.
They're all, a lot of it disbanded.
Yeah, yeah. So I would like to push this along and be one of the few that is able to provide help to Carlisle, to, to not just our community, but to the surrounding communities, to be that support there.
That'd be like being a good neighbor, unlike Metro.
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned Carlisle because they've got a search going on right now. I was going to talk to you guys about that, but the family actually have hired Ohio search and rescue team to come in and help look for their son. So, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys about that. But yeah, I'm done with that. I just want to bring that to your attention.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you guys like to get behind this search team, kind of push it forward and make sure that we continue in a good way. All right, total miles, officers drove this past was 7,291. Total dispatches was 122. Cases closed, 121. We had 6 case follow-ups. We had 2 arrests. We did 381 business checks, 51 vacant house checks, and 969 occupied house checks. We had 5 crashes last month, and I think we're already over 5 this month.
We're 5 this week.
This week, yeah. The deer are really popping out. 39 traffic stops with 15 citations. On October the 8th, Officer Adam Gabir, Reserve Officer, turned his resignation in, and I accepted it. We wish Adam well in whatever his future brings, and we appreciate his service for the last several years. Is there anything?
I don't think so.
Well, does the board have to accept his resignation?
That's an interesting question. It's $1 a year. Jake, Mark, do you remember when he came in? Did the trustees?
I would say most likely need to.
Okay, let's do that. Would you have done it by motion or by resolution? Seems like it's
I would say resolution. Oh,
resolution. I don't remember what we did when Haley quit.
Maybe just a motion.
Let's do it as a motion.
so I'll make a motion to accept Adam Gabir's resignation effective 10/8/2024.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next thing I have is a summary of our national night out. I think it went very well. I was pretty proud of it.
Till the rain came.
Till the rain came. The last half hour we got booted. But thanks to all the trustees that attended and showed your support. We really appreciate that. Thanks to the CERT team for coming out and sitting with us. I wanted to thank the road department for bringing their equipment out and supporting the police and the township. Thanks to all the officers for their hard work, and especially thanks to Shauna and the sergeant for their extra effort. You guys did a fantastic job putting that together. I really wanted to thank Officer Morris. Very good sport. He sat in the dump tape all night.
He was so cool.
It's not a warm night, and
Especially when you add ice.
yeah, well, we didn't have to add ice because the water was really cold. That I know of anyway, so I wasn't there for the
No, we thought about it.
water filling part. But I wanted to mention him. He was a good sport. Thanks to Officer Stevens, our new officer, for his tractor and his hayride. That went over very well. And thanks to Matt DeGroat for donating the water to the dump tank. And I also wanted to thank the Valley View schools for allowing us to use the high school to have our national night. Finally, thanks to the community members for attending and making it worthwhile. So that's all I have.
I thank you for doing it.
Well, let's deal with his request for the ARPA funds. I've given you a resolution using the standard ARPA format. And we will make that resolution number 64.
I don't need to read the whole thing, but I'll read for it.
I would focus at the beginning and then
Yeah.
maybe page 3,
Yeah.
starting with what the project is. And so start at the bottom of page 2 and then through 3.
It's relatively close to what I've got.
Sorry?
I said, I don't have the page 1 or anything, but I just kind of had it.
Okay. Well, do the final whereas on page 2. Do you have that one? Midline. That tells you what the purpose of the resolution is.
Okay, I'd like to introduce resolution 2024-64, a resolution authorizing expenditure for the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Whereas the Board of Trustees has identified a project which, in the judgment of the board, qualifies as a permitted use of the ARPA funds in direct support of governmental services, which consist of the following: deposit into pension funds, satisfaction of settlements or judgments, contributions to financial reserves or rainy day funds. Need to say that or not?
Not sure.
I'm not sure. Yeah, let me just, from deposit in pension fund satisfaction. I think those are things you can use it for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said what the purpose is.
Yeah, so. Whereas the Board of Trustees has identified a project which, in the judgment of the board, qualifies as a permitted use of the ARPA funds in direct support of government services, which consist of the following: install 5 police cruiser mobile radios. Therefore, is it resolved by the board that the township elected to use a standard allowance by way of resolution 2022-16 and its presumption of revenue loss due to the public health emergency, and to use the amount authorized therein to fund government services. The project is hereby authorized and shall be paid for from ARPA funds in the amount not to exceed $2,360.50.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I have that. Any discussion? Not, I'll call the roll. Dr. Cross?
Yes.
Mr. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Potter?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-64 is adopted.
Did it, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Road Department report?
A few things on my report tonight. Just to let you know what we've got to. Scott and I started doing our annual township tree limb trimming with the Bomford reach mower. We do this once a year. We run around trying to keep the limbs and brush from encroaching into the right of way. And I tell property owners that come out and talk to us that if they don't want us doing it, then we're more than welcome to keep the limbs and brush push back on their property. That way we do not have to do it. So just want to bring that up. Obviously, Scott and I were pretty busy in the windstorm on the 27th and 28th of September. Had quite a bit of blow down trees, brush, all kinds of junk all over the roads. We worked several hours, 3 or 4 hours on the 27th. That was the night of Friday night that it actually was the worst. Got all the roads open to traffic, and I want to thank Lou Potter and Wally Stivers. Lended a hand in getting some of the trees off the roadway. Scott and I were busy doing half a dozen other roads, and Lou helped us get a bunch of trees off Wooden Bag, which is always one of the worst roads, it seems like. Lots of dead stuff along Wooden Bag. But Wally also used his skid steer, I believe, to push some stuff off of Little Twin, which is a great help to us. And I wanted to let them know how much I did appreciate that. Came back in on the next Saturday, which was the 28th, and finished pushing a lot of stuff that was still kind of hanging out in the roadway. Wasn't blocking the road, but was causing some problems with scratching down inside people's vehicles. Making people go into the other lane to get around it. So we finished up, and then that next Monday we went out and cleaned up a lot of the junk that was, still in the right of way. So the other thing I want to talk about real quick, Mr. Potter wanted me to talk about the pointing on the building, and you can chime in. I know
They worked,
Mr. King did.
on Monday, they come in,
Yeah.
ground all the joints out, why nobody was here, the dust, and grounded it back. I think they had allowed for 200 or 300 feet.
It's only a couple hundred feet. I knew it was gonna be more than that, but
He said he had over 500 feet, but there would be no extra charge for that.
to me, it looked like they did a really nice job.
And then they let it cure yesterday. And then they'll be here to paint. So whenever weather permits, they have the paint and just waiting on weather to permit.
Also, we discovered what looked like vermiculite coming out of the block wall on this east side of the building, and pulled back some of this rubber base mold to find out that we had like an ant problem along with a water problem. That it caused some of that drywall to get soft down below, and so addressed the ant situation with a gentleman out of Middletown. Pearl County. Somebody apparently that lived in Houston in the past, and he treated the whole building for $200. And so he came on Saturday morning.
I met him there Saturday.
He treated the whole building.
So
So
outside now.
once that got done, I ordered the materials to seal the joint between the sidewalk and the block building, which I think is where a lot of that moisture was coming in, along with being wicked through the block, which work that Mr. King is going to be doing with painting the building will help address that. But I think sealing that joint between the sidewalk and the building is going to be key to try to keep the ants and the moisture in control. So we did order the stuff to do that. We'll be doing that hopefully this year or this week. Yeah, this week, depending on the weather. And then we'll address the rubber base mold that's coming out from the as well. So other than that, we're still mowing the cemeteries, and we started to prep some of the equipment, moving it over from asphalt to, move the big box out of my truck that we use for asphalt and the tarp system, and starting to install some of the other snow stuff. So hopefully we'll be ready for the season. Hopefully it comes later than that. Other than that, I think that's all I have.
Good, thank you, Jeremy.
Speaking of, Mr. Atkins, is there anything we need to do for get him paid? We need to ask for,
He'll need to submit his invoice when he's done.
which he did.
He's not done yet, is he? Everything's done?
And I give it to you on Saturday.
The ant guy.
Oh, the ant guy.
Not Mr. King.
I thought you meant Randy King.
Atkins, his name, Atkins.
Yeah, no, I'll pay it.
I know you will, I just didn't know if we
You
did.
don't need to, no, we don't need.
Okay.
It's just another bill.
Good.
Jeremy can approve it. In fact, the bill's in my office.
Okay.
But I did sign Mr. Randy King's contract and left it with you, Shauna,
Yeah, I wasn't really sure why you left it with me.
because I told him to bring it to you for me to sign it. And I assume he did, but it ended up in my office. Really?
Yeah.
Wonder who put it in my office? Okay, anyway, then I told him he could pick it up from you today. Hopefully he did.
He did not.
That he moved it today.
Well, there we go.
But he's coming to my office to pick it up,
He's gonna pick
which
it
is
up.
why it's on my desk. Okay, I got it this morning. I was like, I don't really know why I have this, but okay. Okay, now I know.
when he asked me last week if I would sign it, I said, leave it with Shauna. She'll put it in my office. I'll sign it. I'll give it back to her.
Okay. Well, at least now I know, and I won't look like a deer in the headlights when it comes to the office.
I just assumed.
I was
You know what that means.
just one of many things on my desk this morning. I was like, all right.
Okay, zoning department, and then we'll do the health insurance list for these two.
Yeah, I don't have much for zoning. Thank God September was quieter. Only one permit, which is a garage on a story road. The zoning commission met and had their meeting, which we're just kind of planning on where we're going next with everything. Nothing really going on. As far as other, I wanted to thank the road department. They kind of, I know the German Township Road Department, they're really, they ought to be called the German Township Everything Department because they deal with literally everything. Jeremy has been on the phone and exchanging emails with telephone companies and internet companies, and it's been a nightmare that he has taken on, and I am very grateful that he did not pass that off because I don't know about that. I know. This is me giving you appreciation so you don't. Yeah. And then, you know, they take on the ant thing and the building thing. It just, they kind of do a little bit of everything and they're my go-to guys. And I just want them to know that we appreciate them.
Thank you.
Health insurance renewal, I sent it to you guys. I got it this morning. I sent it to you guys if you had a chance to take a look at it. Originally I talked to her last week and she said it was going to be a 0% increase, which was, she was pretty excited about. I think, medical was 0%, with vision was 0 and dental was going up just a smidge, but it was only going to be a couple bucks a month. And then when she sent it to me, she said the overall percentage change is actually negative 1.37. And if you look in the packet, she said the rates are drastically lower, but some employees are seeing a slight increase in their monthly rate due to the Medicare rate being drastically lower. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really understand it when I'm looking at it. I know mine is going up like $50 a month. I think Andy Bateman's is going up like $60 a month, but like Holly and a couple other people are going down a few $100s. But overall, it's cheaper by 1.37%. So I was going to ask you guys to approve.
So last year, we actually approved the 2024 renewal at the November meeting. So when I saw your email today, I didn't have an opportunity.
If you want to wait a month, I was excited that we have it already.
I pulled the minutes from the November meeting from last year, which has the resolution language that was used. So I'm not sure who wants to introduce the resolution, but you can use the minutes as your template. That'll be number 65.
Okay, I'd like to introduce resolution 2024-65, a resolution to approve renewing the existing health insurance plan for 2025 with Medical Mutual through Berman Flower Insurance Group, and it's now a different.
Answer sure.
Right, sure. Insurance Group.
They still say medical mutual. Oh, I see.
It's still Medical Mutual.
That's right.
Berman Flower.
And again, they recommend we stay with the same coverage.
Yeah, everybody's very happy with the coverage. In fact, if it's going down, I think it's kind of a miracle itself.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the resolution? Again, I'll call the roll. Dr. Cross?
Yes.
Mr. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Potter? Yes. Very much. Resolution 2024-65 is adopted.
Thanks for working on that again, Sean.
That's all I got.
Okay, trustee reports, Mr. Potter.
All right. We have a few things here. Had a park board, at the park meeting, with two of the park board members are quitting for personal reasons at the end of the year. Bobby and Jen Williams will be quitting. Still no official word from the state on the defibrillators. Of course, the pretzel festival was a washout. The church did take care of the parking at the MMI. And they were going to have, somebody come at the next committee meeting, MMI committee meeting, to give us a report. Had a park board budget meeting with the city oversight, Jonathan, Ben, Judy, Pat, Tom. Just going over, the budgets I brought up again to the city, and, that the park levy will be voted on in 2026. And I was concerned of it, if it would pass or not. I thought it would be a good idea for the city to start paying city employees half in 25 and the other half in 26, so that it's in the budget and not a surprise. And I thought that might also help the park levy to pass if it could tell the public that all levy money would go to park improvements. I also asked 2 questions. What is the plan if the levy doesn't pass, and what can we do to help the levy pass? I didn't get much of a response, but I put it out there for them to think about. MMI, contracted SRM, boulder for the bottom of the driveway of the MMI entranceway for signage. The SRM donated a boulder and delivered it on Friday. It was approximately 8 foot by 7 foot, 4 feet tall. It weighs approximately 8 tons. I will be placing the 7 KIA memorial boulders tomorrow afternoon. The erosion grant, Stacy Valance, a special projects administrator district for the county. She contacted me about 3 weeks ago. She had been going over a grant application. She needed a report to upload it and a couple of questions asked. I contacted online. He got that. He got what she needed, and it had been submitted by the 7th. And then I got confirmation letter. I got confirmation letter from the county that it's in there, and me and Ron will be at the county on November 6th for a reveal type thing. The pool meeting, got to the end of the season reports. I don't have them with me. Actually, got them on I'll have them at the next meeting. But everything continues to improve. Each year, they do have one big purchase in mind. It will be a slide. It normally lasts 15 to 20 years. The one that they have is over 25 years old. They work on it every year to get one more year out of it, which they are trying to do that again, which is planned to do that again, to trying to accumulate more funds for the slide. They're talking that it could cost $100,000.
That's 10 years of administrative fees that they've taken.
Absolutely.
Just from the pool.
Just from the pool. And that includes my
Mr. Stubbs.
Yeah, just thank you for at least asking the city to start paying their part of what they should.
In 2 years from now, when that blows up, they can't say they didn't.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely appreciate you doing that, because that's not a fun conversation typically with them. So just a few things for me tonight at the cemetery. Everything's going well. There's just a few minor damage from the windstorm, some small trees, and then one larger tree, but no physical damage. No stones were destroyed or damaged in any way. Philip Nagley Day went off well. A big thank you to Dr. Stephanie Smith and the Daughters of the Revolution for everything that they put into that. It was actually quite the ceremony. There was a lot of people there, more than I would have expected. And it was just a nice day. Remembering Philip Nagley and his contribution to the Revolutionary War efforts. National Night Out. I got there at the very end, right when it started raining, so I didn't see a whole lot, but all the stuff that you guys had there was impressive. Care Flight. Everything, that was just an awesome night for the community. Then having it at Valley View where you can get in and out and not be locked in like you are here, it just made a good night. So hopefully we can continue working with Valley View and do that in the future. But appreciate everyone that helped out, especially you, Shauna, Jeremy, and everything you guys did for that. And lastly, I saw Julie Smith at the Philip Nagley Day, and she is no longer with Sunshine in the Bag. She stepped down for personal reasons, but still supports the cause. And if we have any questions or anything going forward, we should contact Angie Smith. So that concludes my report.
Right, okay, thank you, Jake.
Once they want to. For some of their tree debris down there.
Okay, yeah,
It's a big help.
I will
I
pass
didn't
that
know, I
on.
appreciate it.
Okay, my report, I attended the Fire EMS Oversight Committee on October 7th. Quorum was not present, so no action was taken. I attended the Germantown Council meeting on October 7th. Nothing new to report there, unfortunately. I attended the Senior Oversight Committee meeting on October 10th. The highlights, Cheryl Patterson was hired as a part-time bus driver. All the programs are doing very well, especially the bus trips. So that's why she's going to help out. The parking lot was resealed and restriped in September. The senior center cost was $6,345. Other repairs are still getting quotes for the work that we talked about last time. Chief Burns and the Attorney General's office have partnered to present a program on senior scams during the October 25th breakfast. And you can call the senior center to RSVP for that. It's always a big thing, I guess. Please note that all events are listed on the senior center webpage, on the city's webpage. This is a little early, but we need to probably consider the date for the board reorganization meeting in January. Possibly do that on the 2nd, which would be a Thursday, because I need to kind of know to set up the BZA and the zoning commission meetings, because we may do that on a Monday of the 6th, Tuesday the 7th. We still got a couple months to decide that. So,
We're also going to be one at the end of December
right.
to do the final year-end items.
So, just to think about that. That's all I've got for my report. The old business. The new business.
Deb Cross, 7444 South Stivers. I have a question for Chief. What's happening with the security as far as the township's portion after the new school, after we get into the new school?
That's all right.
SRO. So, the way it stands right now is, Officer Marsden will continue to be the SRO, and he will be, involved with the high school and junior high school. I don't know, can't speak to yet if the board has approved, G2G. They did last night. So G2G will supply a retired police officer, that will monitor and be there full time in the intermediate and primary section of it. So it'll be split. Any criminal activity that happens on the school grounds will be handled by the Germantown Township Police Department. But G2G will act as security in that area. They are basically a small police department. So it'll be, they specialize in this type of thing. They got their start protecting churches. And they went from protecting churches into school resource officer. There are school resource officers all over the Dayton area from that company. And they will help us protect the schools.
So Marsden will work the entire year,
Yes,
even when the new school opens up.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And then G2G will do the other part of the building.
Right. So he'll, Durham Township Police Officer Marsden will be in the high school, junior high school, and he will be available to assist the G2G employee in the intermediate and primary building, and same as the
Yeah,
other.
okay.
So they wanted 2 school resource officers. I was a little bit worried to put 2 officers out there because you never know when they might say, well, we can't afford 2 officers anymore. And I didn't want to have to lay an officer on. So that's kind of why we went that way. And I'm really excited. I met with the owner of G2G, and they are really good. They're well-trained. They're retired officers. The one that he's talking about is a retired officer. And, they're trained in all 3, police, fire, and EMS. So I think it's just a good idea. It's a good position. That's what we're.
Okay, I'd like to move to go into executive session for ORC 121.22 G1 to consider the compensation of a public employee. I would like to invite Mr. Heaston, Mr. Holbrook, and Mr. Hamilton into the session. Mr. Heaston, may I have a roll call vote?
You need a second.
Second.
And it is now
We'll make it
8:25.
8:25, but Dr. Cross,
Yes.
Mr. Stubbs,
Yes.
Mr. Potter,
Yes.
we're in executive session at 8:25.
That's how I'm saying.
Okay, and it's 8:36. I'd like to make a motion that the board return to our regular open session.
Second.
Well, let me catch up with you both. 8:36. Dr. Cross and Mr. Stubbs. Regular session, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in regular session at 8:36. Thank you.
That's resolution 2024.
66.
I'd like to present a resolution 2024-66, a resolution authorizing the reimbursement of the Hamilton's out-of-pocket medical insurance costs in order to allow the same zero-cost medical coverage afforded to the rest of the township employees. It is further noted that this resolution is not a continuous or a blanket policy, and any similar future situations will be considered on a case-by-case basis.
Second.
Do you want to put anything in there about Medicare? About reason? I'm just asking.
I think we can explain what the resolution is. I think language is adequate.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and explain to the public what we're doing. Scott Hamilton's wife recently turned 65. And so as a result, she is eligible and has gone on Medicare. And so by this resolution, she will be leaving the healthcare plan at the township. And the trustees, if they vote to approve this resolution, will be reimbursing her for her Medicare cost, her supplement, and any out-of-pocket, which would bring her exactly to where she currently is or was before she turned 65, where the township paid all medical costs, including prescription drugs. And so this is simply making her whole, but from a different way. So that, and the net result of this is the township is going to save significant money versus paying Medical Mutual for them, paying them for the supplement. We're going to save hundreds of dollars a month by doing this. So it's a win-win for everybody. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Dr. Cross?
Yes.
Mr. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Potter?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Resolution 2024-66 is adopted.
Okay, if no other business, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 8:39.
Just good. Thanks for your